They say, history never repeats itself. But it rhymes, and if you listen closely, the rhyme is getting louder. Because every empire, from Rome to the Ottomans, from the British to the Mongols, collapses in a strangely predictable way, not through invasion, not through sudden catastrophe, but through a slow, silent breaking of 7 universal rules. Rules that protected them. Rules that built them. Rules that, once ignored, guaranteed their destruction. And today, America has already broken 6 of them. The final one, it's the only rule holding the system together, and the moment it cracks, the collapse won't look like the movies. It will be financial, political, psychological, and global. Because this time, the empire at risk isn't just a nation. It's the backbone of world trade, the center of global finance, the issuer of the world's reserve currency, and the world's largest military power. This is the story of the 7 rules every empire breaks before it falls, and why the United States is now standing at the edge of the same pattern that destroyed every great power before it. But to understand how empires fall, we must first understand how they rise. Every empire begins the same way, with scarcity, hunger, and pressure. Rome began as a small village under constant threat. Britain began as an island, struggling to survive foreign invasions. The United States began as 13 colonies, resisting a global superpower. And in every case, the early phase is defined by 2 things. Asterisk. Asterisk 1. Hardship. Discipline asterisk. When Rome was young, they lived by strict laws. When Britain was rising, their navy had brutal discipline. When the US was forming, the country embraced industry, savings, and innovation. This is the golden age, the period of creation, not consumption. Empires rise because they obey the rules. They work harder than everyone else. They produce more than they consume. They save more than they spend. But then, something changes. Success arrives. Power grows, wealth flows, and discipline begins to fade. That's when the rules begin to break. The 7 rules of imperial collapse, and the moment each empire crossed the point of no return. History shows the same repeating pattern. Rule number 1. Empires go broke slowly, then all at once. Rule number 2. Corruption becomes culture. Rule number 3. Debt expands faster than the economy. Rule number 4. The military expands beyond affordability. Rule number 5. The middle class collapses. Rule number 6. Currency loses credibility. Rule number 7. The elite abandon the system they created. Rome broke all 7. Britain broke all 7. The Ottomans broke all 7. Even the Mongols broke all 7. And today, America has already broken 6. Only 1 remains. Let's go deeper. Every empire begins with a strong financial base. Rome had gold reserves. Britain had trade surpluses. The US had industrial dominance. But then comes asterisk asterisk overspending, overconfidence, overextension. Asterisk asterisk for Rome, it was endless wars. For Britain, it was global colonial policing. For the US, it became something new. The cost of maintaining a financial world order. By 2025, America crossed a line no empire has crossed and survived. $34 trillion in national debt. $200 trillion in unfunded liabilities. $1 trillion every 100 days in new debt. That's not politics, that's math. And math always wins. When empires rise, corruption is punished. When empires fall, corruption becomes normalized. Rome's elites bribed senators. Britain's lords bought influence. America, lobbying legal bribery, is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. Congress members outperform hedge funds. CEOs rewrite regulations. Executives rotate between government and Wall Street like a revolving door. Once corruption becomes culture, collapse becomes inevitable. America has broken this rule too. This is the most obvious red flag. When debt grows faster than GDP, an empire enters a death spiral. Rome cut silver out of its coins. Hyperinflation. Britain borrowed heavily after the world wars, gives lost global influence. America prints money to cover deficits. Inflation. Today, GDP growth. 2% debt growth. 10 to 14%. This is the same pattern every collapsing empire followed. Rule number 3, already broken. Every empire reaches a point where its military becomes too large, too expensive, too global, too stretched. Rome had campaigns across 3 continents. Britain defended colonies across the world. The US maintains 750 military bases in 80+ countries. At first, it shows strength. But eventually, it becomes the anchor that drags the ship underwater. You cannot police the world forever. You cannot fund global dominance forever. You cannot run an empire on borrowed money. Rule number 4, broken. Empires don't fall because the elite fail. They fall because the middle collapses. Rome's plebeians were replaced by slaves. Britain's workers collapsed under industrial decline. America's middle class, shrinking for 40 years. Savings at record lows. Housing unaffordable, workers stagnant. Inequality exploding. No empire survives without a strong middle class. Rule number 5, broken. This is the most dangerous stage. Rome's currency collapsed when emperors diluted the silver content. Britain's pound collapsed after it lost global dominance in trade. America's dollar. In 2026, over 25 countries began shifting trade away from USD. Saudi Arabia signed yuan-based oil deals. BRICS expanded. Central banks bought gold at the fastest rate since the 1960s. US treasuries were dumped by major holders. For the first time since World War II, the world is preparing for a post-dollar era. Rule number 6, broken. This is the last rule. The final line before collapse. When the elites in an empire no longer believe in the system they built, the collapse becomes unstoppable. In Rome, senators moved their wealth to the countryside. In Britain, aristocrats moved into a private banking. In the US, billionaires are moving assets offshore, buying foreign passports, purchasing bunkers, shifting money into hard assets, investing in non-US currencies, exiting the political and financial system they built. They are quietly hedging against the collapse of their own empire. This is the 7th rule, and America is dangerously close to breaking it. When this final rule falls, the empire falls. Every empire collapses at the point where all 7 rules intersect. For Rome, it was 476 AD. For Britain, it was 1947. For the Ottomans, it was 1922. For America, the convergence point looks like this. Debt explosion plus weakening dollar, plus military overstretch, plus political fragmentation, plus inequality, plus currency dilution, plus elite exit. This is exactly where America stands today. One more shock, economic, geopolitical, or financial, and the entire structure begins to unravel. Not with riots, not with invasions, but with a global margin call on the US financial system. Roman currency collapse, political corruption, civil division. Britain, debt crises, loss of reserve currency. Global withdrawal. America gives near identical pattern. Historians are terrified, not because America is unique, but because it isn't. It is following the exact same script. Exponential debt, global overreach, elite wealth extraction, declining currency dominance, internal fragmentation, political hostility, weakening middle class, rising inequality. This is not new. This is not unpredictable. This is not surprising. This is the cycle, and the cycle is repeating itself. Again, every collapsing empire tries the same 3 things. 1. Print money. 2. Raise taxes. 3. Expand control. Rome printed currency. Hyperinflation. Britain raised taxes gives accelerated decline. Modern America prints money gives inflation plus asset bubbles. These fixes don't save empires. They speed up the collapse. If America breaks the final rule, if the elite fully exit the system, the US won't disappear. It will transform. Empires don't vanish. They evolve into something smaller. Less dominant, less powerful, more fragmented. The dollar won't become worthless, but it won't remain king. The military won't collapse, but it won't be everywhere. The economy won't die, but it won't lead the world. The transition won't be sudden. It will be slow, silent, and invisible. Until one day, people look back and realize the American century ended years ago. Takeaway number 1. Empires collapse the same way through internal decay, not external attack. Takeaway number 2. America is not exempt from history. It is following the same pattern as Rome, Britain, and countless others. Takeaway number 3. The 7th rule, elite abandonment, is the only one left. When it breaks, the age of American dominance ends. We are living through the final chapters of a cycle that repeats every 250 years. Most people won't notice. Most people won't believe it. Most people will ignore the signs. Empires fall slowly, then all at once, and that moment may be closer than anyone expects. If you found this breakdown, if you want more deep, cinematic analysis of the patterns shaping our world, and if you want to understand the collapse before it happens, subscribe. Share this video, and stay tuned, because the story isn't over. The final rule hasn't broken yet, but when it does, everything will change.